Welcome to Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, the big, butch, manly pop culture podcast that enjoys a cheese-forward dinner. I'm Andrew Wheeler.
And I'm Shane Hollon.
And we are talking today about Traitors UK Week 3, that's episode 7, 8, and 9, spoilers and all. We're also, at the end of the episode, going to talk a little about Traitors US Week 2, which is episodes 4 and 5. I hope all those numbers are not just swimming in your brain like they are in mine. But yes, the UK Traitors come first, always. But we are going to cover what happened in the Traitors US. So if you're here for the that guy of it all, stick around to the end of the episode. But first of all, we're going to try and keep it tight.
That should be about hour 2.
Let's start, though, by talking about the cliffhanger of Week 2 of UK, leading into the start of Week 3 of UK, the questioning the traitors event. We left with Matt asking to be recruited at the end of last week, and we start this week with Harriet going full nuclear option on the traitors. And boy, was it great for a while.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, she really thought she had cracked the code. And her whole play of making the traitors sweat by not actually having a question for them, just like, I'm going to get you, was so silly and paid off so well.
I feel like her and Fiona are like just the flip sides of the same coin at this point. Like they both flamed out so spectacularly after promising so much. I know there are people who think, wait, Fiona was never promising anything, but like she did get Hugo out effectively. And I think she could have been a much better traitor. And the same thing with Harriet, could have been a much better faithful. We all were so confident in her abilities. And I think she dropped every single ball that she had. She told the traitors secrets that she should then have kept secret the next day, because that's a way of just be watchful for the people that maybe know that you're a barrister, etc., or who's going to try and use that against you. Threw it away immediately. Made herself suspicious by saying, I'm actually a barrister, the thing that you've all already agreed is suspicious. And then at the round table, when she could have just been like, well, Rachel's a traitor, and if you vote me out, just know that I gave you this one name. No, she throws out 5 names at the end and says they're all traitors, and 4 of them are wrong, which means 4 people are against her. It just wildly stupid.
Yeah, wildly stupid move. And like future players take note. Like pick a name and stick to it. Don't go wishy-washy on it, because it just really discredits everything you're saying. It's like you said, like if she hadn't have done that in what felt like the last 5 minutes of that discussion, which was probably like an hour long, it gets edited down. But it truly felt like, oh, and by the way, I also suspect Roxy and Matt and James or whoever. And it's like, but wait, you just spent an hour railing against Rachel, and now you're going to throw this into the mix?
Vain.
What are we supposed to think here? The greatest irony, my God, the greatest irony
about
is, of course, that she was right. Like, she was so right about Rachel, about one person. And if she just hadn't been so, I don't know, forceful, or I want to say forceful,
so
but
aggressive
stupid.
to Roxy at the breakfast table. Like that's when I went, oh God, girl, no, come on.
Yeah. I mean, it did once again lead to amazing television. This was a stellar week of the Traitors, and God, if you weren't rooting for Rachel and Steven like we have been, then you certainly are now, because they have been put through the fire week after week, episode after episode, and they keep like crawling out of it untouched in a way that makes no sense. That everyone is decidedly on their side now after all of these people giving them definitive proof that it is them on a silver platter. I mean, God, they're so good
lucky
at what they're doing.
I mean, they've
like real
blundered enough times that it should have undone their game. Rachel was the third person that was supposed to ask the traitors questions, and it blew my mind that she didn't go through the process, step out of the confessional, do the whole thing so that she has had that experience and can report it honestly, and so that she has questions prepared for when they ask her the next morning, what did you ask? How did she not think of this? It's like the Lisa Rinna thing in Traitors US this week, where they're asking, oh, what was your experience of being tied to the tree? And Rinna had the right information to give them. She over-explained herself, which itself should be a giveaway, but Rachel didn't have the information to give them, and no one picked up on it.
Yeah, that was wild. I mean, yeah, I have to imagine that they wouldn't let her step out of the confessional to do it, but
Yeah,
that her and Steven didn't talk about that at all, like, didn't come up with a plan. What are you going to do tomorrow when everyone gets asked about this? That
honestly.
is a wild oversight on their part. But they overcome that. They overcome that easily, it feels like, because these faithful are so all over the place that they don't know what they're looking for anymore. And I think that also goes back to Rachel and Steven's game. They've sowed so much chaos by getting rid of the right people at the right time that no one knows who to trust. And I
Now,
mean,
with
God, good
Harriet
for
being
them.
voted out at the
They
round
really did
table,
that.
we now have maybe the youngest cast of traitors imaginable, with still like 10, 12 people left in the castle. Rachel is now the elder statesman of the room with at the age of 42, and it sort of shifts the dynamic. It makes it. I mean, it felt weird to me that everyone was so young, and yet there were still so many people in there. And now we can only lose young people. So Harriet's gone, Adam is murdered, Sam is banished, Jesse is murdered, and Ellie is banished. Anyone there you want to pick out?
I obviously everyone felt really bad that Jesse left. And it was
Hmm.
understandable. Jesse was a great player, and of all of the remaining
Yes,
players at the time, she was the only one who was looking in the right direction. So the Traitors, again, I mean,
agree.
that was a dangerous move, but it was the right one. Yeah, like Jesse had Steven's name on her lips, and getting rid of her, like I said, was so obviously a move
Right.
to protect Steven. Who would think Steven
I
would
think
do that?
really
Only
the
Steven
like
could do that and
the
get away with it.
the risk slash reward thing that he had to calculate there was, if Jesse goes, then that puts suspicion on me. But if Jesse stays, that also puts suspicion on me in the form of Jesse, who is here to actively talk about it. So much better to be suspected and get rid of
Mhm.
the person who's putting your name out there. I think it was the right call, and it seems to have worked, actually. Like, Stephen, anyone's chief suspect anymore? Is Rachel ever going to be anyone's chief suspect? What is happening? But I don't think these people are stupid.
Honestly,
Yeah.
no, definitely not the ones that are remaining. Like Roxy is
Yes.
really intelligent and Jade is hyper intelligent in this game. It's just that they've been so, I don't know, is it that they've been burned so many times by their suspicions that they're now like
Yeah.
hesitant to throw forward other people's names? Like, is that what's happening at the round table? I feel like we're getting fewer and fewer people putting out solid names the like longer we go into this game because they all happen to be wrong. I also want to talk about Ellie,
Right?
who came alive in her last episode and finally and revealed her very underwhelming secret that had no bearing on the game whatsoever, it turns out. And you and I
Yeah.
really thought there was going to be another familial connection in this game, but I think after that reveal that her and Ross are dating, I don't think there's any other couples in this game or any other family members. I'd hope that Faraz and Maz were related, but that would have been the opportunity to tell the cameras, like, I'm not the
Yeah.
only
And
one
Roxy
with a
did not
family
blow her
connection.
secret at the
And it
dinner
just
table,
didn't
which I
happen.
thought she would when she's saying, I'm doing this for my mum. She could have just pointed at the wall.
Mhm.
See that one? That's her. So I don't know. I still
That's my
feel like
mom.
there might be at least one more connection in there, but it's just they've realized it's not making good TV. Like, Diane and Ross was a moment, a pop culture moment. But Ross is, you know, that was great and it was surprising. But now it's not as surprising, and it also doesn't feel like a twist or a reveal. Like, it's so anticlimactic now that I think they'll just give up on doing that for future seasons or minimize it. Like, just one maybe
Yeah.
ish, but it's not the spectacular TV that they hoped it would be.
Yeah. I mean, if they
Yeah,
had done, it goes back to the rule of threes. They had two family connections.
yeah.
If there had been a third, it might have been compelling. And it felt like at the
Family
beginning of the
tree, yeah.
season that they were building the season around the family tree concept, which was
Yeah.
displayed so prominently in a challenge for the traders and in the castle, and was such a topic of conversation for so many people in those early episodes that, like,
Yeah.
it was a bit half-hearted
One
on the
other familial
production side
collection that
to
did
include it.
get shouted out, Sam, as he is banished at the round table, basically does the clue, I'm going home to sleep with my wife. That's a
My
shocker to us
wife.
all. I thought
What?
Stephen was your wife.
Okay, and also
Yeah,
Jack
that I
revealing that
knew,
his
but
partner is a
yeah, it
woman
talks all
blew
around.
my mind.
God, Matt was there to be like, well, my fiance, a man.
I also understand the
Yeah, he can
practice
do
of
that
conversion
reveal at some
therapy.
point. Ah, yes, I've worked with deprogrammers. I've been to the camps, the conversion therapy camps, just to be clear. Sound very strange. But we are now in.
Oh my god, speaking of programmers, we haven't mentioned that Rachel trained with an FBI agent, which
Me too.
I thought was revealed as a joke. And the dead seriousness of that
How did she
is
do this? Is she
incredible.
saying she took like a masterclass, like video correspondence course with, I've trained
Online
with an
course?
FBI specialist? Did you pay them for their time? Like, what is happening here?
What does that mean? What
She
does that
watched
mean?
She watched all 4 seasons of The
And how
Mentalist,
does that help?
and she's ready to go. Use your training, love. Come on.
So brilliant. I mean,
I know.
that hasn't made her
Like,
even more suspicious
if
to
it's
the round table is like the
if it's true,
giving you all
vote
the
her out.
clues
If
killer.
she's not true, vote her
Wait,
out.
it's the other way
Like,
around.
either way, that's damning, but not to these people
Vote her out.
who, again, I don't think are stupid, but in this
Yes.
instances, they're stupid.
No, but in
At
this
times, we're
game,
all stupid.
I mean, speaking of stupid, James and the hidden shield. The way that he told on himself for actually being a faithful in that moment, when everyone is like, "Who took the extra shield? Who
Yeah,
took the extra shield?" And he's like, "Not me." Was amazing. Like
terrible.
what a bad liar. What a terrible liar. Just revealing himself to be the most
And the fact that he
truthful
hadn't done
person
the
in the
maths, like the thing
castle.
about like, well, if 3 people get it here and 2 people get it here, it has to come from your group. If there are 8 shields, I mean, I guess he didn't know there would be 8 shields, but yeah, it wasn't a secret that was going to stand up to scrutiny. So, oops. Should we talk about the challenges? Because we had maybe one
Oops.
of my favorite of all time this week, and also maybe one of the least interesting of all time. The cherubs fall in the middle for me. We've seen 2 versions of it, and either one was, disappointing or enthralling. It was fine. The boxes,
Which one are you
the cabin
talking
in the
about? I'm so
woods,
confused.
I think was so fun and doomed
Oh,
Sam with his going for the shield.
yeah.
Like, Sam, literally no one is trying to kill you. Totally doomed him, but also like so many good, like theatrical effects, so much fun, blood coming down the walls, a clown at the window. I was hooting, and I'm really looking forward to Lisa Rinna going through that this week.
A woman appearing in the corner oh, that's going to be so incredible.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just
devastating.
wish Monet were
We're not
alive
there
to
yet.
see this.
The boxes challenge is the one that I
We're
thought was
not there
really
yet. We're
underwhelming.
not there yet.
Like, it's just we've seen this challenge done so many times before, like with the chess pieces. This felt like the most convoluted version of that, and no more
Hmm.
interesting for all that.
Well, I did kind of like that the traders
Sure.
had to reveal themselves in the challenge itself.
Yeah.
I think that's something that they can work on in future seasons and kind of perfect. Like having to be in plain sight is a great idea. It ups the ante for the remaining traders. But yeah, the actual execution of the game itself, kind of like the mirror in the woods challenge, who's the fairest of them all. It was kind of like, well, there's not enough going on here to actually feel like any of this was worth doing. Like there needed to be I think for both, there needed to be 10 questions and it
Yeah.
needed to be snippier. Like it needed to be faster and there needed to be something going on inside the box for them. Like instead of just like ducking their heads and staying there for a few minutes, like watching these people like
Yeah.
is not interesting. Give them something to do in there that's a puzzle or affects the game in some way. Yeah, yeah. How do I get out of this
Uh,
box?
um,
I also love the fountain challenge. I thought like visually exciting and the idea of like being of either like getting a shield
yes.
and ruining everyone's game or not is a good idea. And I
Yeah.
particularly like it in the US version, which again, we'll get to. But I think the setup, the scale of that challenge was exciting, grand, and a beautiful payoff
I
with
will
a
say
blood fountain
Scottish
at the
smoked
end.
salmon is thought to be maybe the best in the world. Canada, I live in Canada now, and Canada would say no, Canadian smoked salmon, like Coelho salmon, is the best in the world. But there is a reason they're all fighting over the salmon at breakfast in both versions of the Traitors. I saw someone online being like, why is everyone so excited about salmon? Like, this is why. It's really good.
Smoked salmon lover, I get it. I would absolutely be like, who ate all of
Now that
my
we
no
have
belong?
this all millennial faithful round table, it's become so I feel statements. It really made me laugh. The first table where there were no old people anymore, and suddenly everyone's very like, well, these are my feelings, and I hate to accuse you. And
Refers to their basic
great.
instincts. Have you seen that meme of like celebrity traders versus real traders? Like celebrity traders are like, I love you. You know how much I love you. I'm so sorry to put suspicion on you. And then real traders like, you're a fucking traitor and you fucking know
But it's
it.
not that anymore. Now it's celebrity traitors with ordinaries, with normals.
But it is not that. It turns out it's just an age thing.
Yeah,
If you get rid of any people over the age of 45, all of a sudden it's like, I don't want to hurt you. And you know, outside of
yeah.
here, we're going to be besties. We've already planned our
Next
trip
season,
to
all
Sky
boomers
Island.
traitors. It would just be a bloodbath. They would all claim that their life experience makes them uniquely equipped to play the game.
Oh, God.
Uh,
22, Michael
we'll get
Rapaport,
to it.
descend upon the castle.
We have seen now another article that I saw online was complaining about like how the show had too many men that look the same, which there's a lot of men in their 20s, but they're actually not that similar to look at. You know, like they have different hair colors, they have different piercings, they have different faces. I think maybe the writer of that article is just maybe in need
They
of
have different
cataract
skin
surgery or
tone.
something. And in amongst all these identical men, we have Stephen. We have to talk about the jumpsuit. We have to talk about the style.
The way that Steven is making me look at my wardrobe and saying, this isn't enough. I
Yeah.
don't have enough clothes that I like. He is
Yeah.
a fashion icon, and he's bringing the 70s back in a wonderful way. You know, we're living through this fashion time that is very the late extended 90s, lots of belts and baggy clothing and it isn't doing it for me. But seeing these flare pants and matching top with wide ass lapels and gorgeous cardigans with stripes and
Beautiful.
vivid colors. My God. And then he's got the little 70s porn stash going on. I mean,
He's going to land a
the
TV
things that
gig
I would
after
do to
this
him.
for sure. Like he's just so stylish and he's smart and he's funny and he's adorable. So he's got it all going on for him.
When I for some reason I was watching his Chiron and it said that he's a cybersecurity analyst,
Honestly,
something that I've never picked up on. How? How can you be this queer, this unabashedly
yeah.
gay, this fashion
Coming from the
icon and
island.
work at a desk job in cybersecurity? You need to be
Like they
out
don't
there,
even have
baby.
internet where he
Yeah.
grew up. I'm lying. They do. They do. But it's slow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just got
Also,
it
we
last
finally
year.
got our shower shot, and it was Matthew, and it was a little disappointing, honestly. Like, they had him so turned around, like, beautiful hairy chest, beautiful man, beautiful arms, but we get so much more from the twinks when they do it. We saw them upside down
Yes, the come
in a
together.
previous episode.
Right. Okay. Fair. Fair. So, I mean, I am
Yes.
happy that Maddie has joined the great pantheon of shower scenes. He adds a touch of diversity to the other two.
Yes, although we now have 2 gay men out of 3. We don't know about Freddie. We would not mind. Um, yeah, I like
No.
it's such a shame that we couldn't get it from Steven. It's such a shame we couldn't get it from Reese. Am I slightly too obsessive about the shower shots? Yes. We're not going to get it from Rob R in US either. I don't know.
No. I mean, we are. I don't think we're the only ones who are obsessed with this, by the way. Like, it is known that every
Yeah,
season from here on out, there must be a gratuitous
yeah.
shower scene. And it truly is gratuitous. There,
None of
what
the
does it have to
cutaways have
do
anything to do with
with
anything. Poor Adam walking
anything?
around
I
with his
don't
coat hanger and
understand.
his little light box looking for ghosts. I mean, he must have been happy to do
That
it.
poor man.
It did make him look like a huge dork. It made me love him more, obviously.
Hmm. It did make me love him
Yeah.
more. I'm in love with him. I'm in love with all of the guys on the team. I'm actually just in love with this entire cast. They're all really great, but the guys
The
especially, they
number of
get some
hotties compared to
really
all
cute
previous
guys in
seasons
this season.
is through the roof. And I think that's why a person is complaining about all these lookalike men. What they mean is there's a lot of hot men in their 20s. Faraz is growing on me so much every show. Like, he was always cute, but we're getting to see who he is now, and it's like, oh, he's
He's so
adorable.
sweet. Yeah, yeah. I want to talk about the dinner party. The way that I was sitting on my couch last night
Yeah.
crying, listening to all of their stories and the reasons that they wanted to win this was so touching. And we do
Yes.
this every season, I think, but this one felt really poignant. Um, and and they all revealed such personal things about themselves for the most part. But when Jade talks about being close with her mother and losing her mother tragically in an accident and her stepbrother was so powerful, and it felt really powerful in the room, uh and it made me love her even more. And she says, like,
Yeah.
this is the reason I'm so guarded and why I haven't opened up to you and why we haven't been connecting. And probably the reason why you think I'm a traitor is because I've had so much trauma in my life that, connecting with new people it brings that up. And if I
Yeah.
win, I just want to buy myself a house
I
and
want
have
I
some
want
peace. And I was
walls and
like,
a
oh,
roof and a door. Yeah.
me too.
Yeah, I see myself sometimes in Jade and the way she talks about when she was first in the room, meeting 21 other people, and her reaction is to be quiet and to be nervous. And it's like, yeah, that's me. She speaks for all the people who walking into a room with strangers, your immediate response is, I'm going to be cold and I'm going to be withdrawn because I do not know what else to do in this situation. And I like, yeah, let's speak out for the introverts. We can be on TV too.
Yeah, yeah. It has become a really beautiful story, uh, and it's such a pity that I want the Traitors to win
Yeah.
because I would also love to see Jade win this game. If it can't be Rachel and Steven together, then it has to be
Do we
Jade for
think
me.
that they
But
should or
also,
will
sorry, go
or
ahead.
can recruit at this point? Because I assumed the dinner party reveal was going to be there's no murder, but the traitors will recruit tonight. And instead, we got the dagger that gives someone 2 votes. But I don't think these 2 OGs are going to want to recruit anyone. I don't think they should if they can keep going these last 3 episodes. And it's wild to me that there have been no recruitment slash seductions, as we're now apparently calling them, at all. Like, all 4 traitors were traitors from day one. They were all picked at the table. But yeah, it feels like a first. But then again, I have a
Is
short
this a
memory,
first?
so I've never seen this show before.
Yeah, same. I have a terrible, terrible memory. So don't. Yeah, I love this new experience we're having.
We don't think so.
They can't. right? They absolutely cannot. And they've been given Maddie on this silver platter, like, please
Yeah,
recruit me. And they've done everything that he's asked of them.
yeah.
And to not recruit him now will feel like such a personal attack against him,
So
but
mean.
which I'm so excited for. He's going to implode. Like, he's gonna get himself
Yeah,
taken out. It's so mean. And I love this man. I really love this man, but there's like, I don't see a path to the end for
yeah.
him because
Love a
he
burly
is a
gay in
very
a series
emotional
of cute
player.
Aaron sweaters, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that man's story is also incredible. Like, he is a survivor of conversion therapy as a child, and he's gone on to be one of the leading voices in banning conversion therapy in the UK. That's really wonderful. And at the dinner table where he's
Yeah,
in a confessional, he says he feels so much closer to Steven, knowing how similar their journeys have been. That really touched my heart. I would love to see these two gays out in
yeah.
the real world together, like being friends. I mean,
People never
that's what you want out
post
of this show.
anyone on social media who hasn't been knocked out, I've noticed. In fact, I got spoiled on Jesse because I follow Reese on Instagram and he had immediately posted a picture of him and Jesse at a bar, which in theory means nothing at all. But in practice, I'm like, oh, he's posted a picture of him with Jesse. That means Jesse's getting kicked out tonight. So yeah, that's one of the weird phenomenon. If there are
Yeah,
pictures of Matthew and Stephen going at large at GAY, yeah, we have to hope it's
that's a
after the
terrible sign
finale.
for either of them. Yeah. Yeah. Uh, the dagger twist, I mean, I really like the idea. I'm
Hmm.
curious to see how this plays out. What would you do? Would you keep it to yourself, or would you give the power
Totally
away to
trust.
someone
I
that you
mean,
trust?
I thought when Claudia initially stabbed that thing into the table, and I really hoped she would stab it through a piece of cheese, but she didn't. She did make a joke about it, but
Yeah, she did.
I thought it
She
was going
made
to
a great
be
joke.
the traitors can't pick a traitor, but no, she immediately said no, the traitors can pick anyone, including themselves. And that threw me for a loop because then I'm like, well, feel like Stephen, if I were Rachel, I'd give it to Stephen. And if I was Stephen, I'd give it to Stephen. If it were me, like, I don't trust anyone else enough in that room.
Yeah,
Who's gunning for who now at this table? I guess who's most suspicious of Matt? Like, is that Faraz at this point? Maybe give it to Faraz and let him vote out
that
Matt.
could be a good
Don't give it to
choice.
James because he will do something
Yeah.
wild and stupid.
Well, see, I was thinking James would also be a good choice because James has been so wrong the entire time
But he could equally possibly
that
just,
he might
yeah,
actually
stray
like
shot.
help.
Do you have to vote for the same
But he is
person twice, or
unpredictable.
can you split your two votes? Who knows?
I'm gonna guess it's the same person twice.
Yeah.
Because that could throw a real monkey's wrench into the thing. Yeah, I do like the idea of giving it to Steven. It kind of solidifies like
Mhm.
I'm being set up. I'm actually a faithful to the other faithful because who else
Yeah.
already has that much on them and has escaped everything so far. Like Jade. Jade is the only other one, but you couldn't give it to Jade because Jade is absolutely like going to vote for Rachel or for Steven in the following episodes.
It's an interesting twist. Curious to see how it will play out. I wonder if they were like planning to do a recruitment and they're like, no, we
Mm.
can't do that to these two traitors. It probably wouldn't improve the game at this point to have another traitor come in. But the dagger is more interesting. One
Well, we'll
week.
see in a few weeks
Oh,
how it
with the
we'll
right,
see in a
yeah,
few weeks
yeah,
how
yeah.
that pans
So
out
we have
on
1
the
week left to
US.
go of the Traitors UK, and it promises to be a rollicking ride right to the end because it's been a really fun season. But then I don't remember a UK season that's ever been anything less than stellar.
Mm. Yeah, no, but I feel like this is going to go down
Yeah.
the history books as one of the most entertaining UK seasons. I think it's been the most entertaining yet. We have been talking for 30 plus minutes. We should talk in
I mean, I don't have
detail
a lot
a
of detail
bit
because
about
I'm
the US traders.
monomaniacally focused on one event, but I could think of some other things to say, certainly. The eliminations in US Traitors this week are Caroline murdered, Tiffany banished, Monet murdered, and Michael Rapaport banished. And that is, of course, the thing that I want to talk about. But let me throw the discussion over to you before we get to that guy.
Well, I really like how Kristen, the host of Top Chef, is rising in the castle, perhaps way too early on. It does not bode well for her, but she is catching on to a lot of things. She's beginning to put pieces together, and I think she might be leading the charge against Rinna in the near future, which I love to see. Also, she reminds me of Sailor Uranus. She's just like this beautifully, like unimaginably tall woman with this tight little bob and all the power in the world. I absolutely love her. I forgot her name in the last
I
episode.
think I
I'm
cut that
so
out, but
sorry,
yeah.
but I definitely remembered it this time because I knew.
Not this time.
Thank you. Not this time.
I think
It's
both
canon
Kristen
now. I love her.
and her
I
hair twin
absolutely
Eric
love
are
her.
going to be in
I
trouble this
also,
coming week because they are both getting the wrong kind of attention now.
yes, yeah. Poor Eric. Okay. First, I want to talk about the Tiffany
Mm.
banishment and how dark-sided that all was. And I have read a lot of think pieces about unconscious bias, specifically in the Traitors, and how it played out in the UK, as it has nearly every season, and how once again it's playing out in the US. And you have loud voices all over the place in this game, but as soon as it is a younger black woman, middle-aged black woman, all of a sudden we can't trust this loud voice. And it's disturbing how everyone at that table, nearly everyone at that table, felt the same way. It was not a good look for the show, and God. And Michael Rapaport was right in defending Tiffany. And that will be the only good thing that I will have to say about that man. But he rightly
Right.
called out that it was a witch hunt against someone who was very
Eric did think he
obviously
had
guilty.
evidence. He did not, but like at least there was something. But he wasn't the one that started it against Tiffany, was he? He just corroborated basically. He put the final nail in her coffin. The one thing I have to say though, Michael,
Colton is kind of the one who led the charge. And I mean, I really want to like Colton
he's
Underwood. I don't know
yeah, he's
why,
toxic.
because he's proven himself to be a good person in the past, but he's beautiful. And so for him to like really show us who he really is,
I believe in grace
it
for
was
queer people
it
who
was
have
really
experienced
disappointing.
mental health disasters, and I put him in that category, but he may also just be irredeemable. Enough people dislike him, even from this cast, I think, that I'm not sure where to fall on that. Tiffany is friends with Michael Rapaport outside of the castle, so knowing that, I was like, oh, this is terrible, but also get rid of her. I don't need either of those people in the show anymore. And all the housewives next. But we'll get to that. And Steve Coletti, for some reason.
Yeah.
Can we talk about Ron Funches?
Yeah. Man, Ron. Wrong and
He's such
strong
a
and
he's so
Ron.
broken in this game. It's so sad. And he is also a
It
victim of the
is.
same like prejudicial
It's
mindset,
so
but has survived thus far. But yeah, he's not.
the saddest thing for me
Yes,
is watching him like eating alone every episode. Like he's actually been isolated by these people for no good reason other than like, like doing what everyone else is doing, coming up with evidence and a theory and standing by it and it not working out, which happens every fucking week in this game. It's like
also,
none of these people have
why
seen
does
the
no one eat
show.
at a table? You know, eat at a table, or give these people like those little
Why does
like
no one eat
wheel tray table things that they can sit next to their armchair. But at least most of them do not eat by holding a plate up to their mouth and funneling corn like some sort of trash compactor demon. Man has not been socialized.
what the fuck? Like the way that this man is Trump
Before
coded.
we get into that man, we also have to talk about Rob R., who has become the heartthrob of the season. And those dungarees, my God. Wearing those dungarees and doing this, I mean, for God's sakes, man. We're only
Oh
human.
my God.
He's such a straight
Like,
boy.
men
And he's
spreading
so hot.
everywhere.
Yeah.
And he's also an ally. He's sticking up for queer people at every
Yeah.
chance, which is sure he's a traitor. And by like
Sure.
sticking up for them, it saves him one more week in the castle or whatever. But he genuinely
Yeah.
seems to like the people that he's standing up for. And also he's the hottest person, as Dorinda
And
rightly
milking it.
said to his face at the table. And Johnny Weir
Yeah.
says, like, I can't even look at this man. He's so hot. Yeah.
And he's best
We are
friends
all
with
Johnny
Aaron
Weir.
from season 1 of The Traitors because they were on Love Island together. So I don't know what Aaron told him about the game, but I feel like he got better than FBI coaching. He got faithful coaching and then went in to be a traitor, you know?
Oh, incredible. Yeah, again, I'll say it again. Should I be
No.
watching Love Island? I don't think so. I don't think it's good for my mental health. I don't think it's good for my body image. But I want to see more Rob R in my life. I guess I'm gonna follow him and his like snake catching videos and listen to him saying, "There's a snake in my boot," and like all of
His
the things
snake
that make me
catching
just
videos
want
are
to know what he's
wild,
talking
and I've
about. What can he mean?
kept like for years I've wanted to follow this man on Instagram and sort of backed away because I have like
Because you have a roommate
and
who would
and but
die.
also like just I get palpitations watching this because he'll be like, "Oh, this is one of the most poisonous snakes in this region, and if it bites you, your blood will turn into marbles and fall out of your dick." And it's like, okay, why are you holding it then with no shirt on? No.
With no shirt on and snake tattoos. Like, he must be just evil in bed. Just horrendous. Like, he's just gonna treat you so badly. And God, I need to turn the camera away for a
Remember,
second.
men, you can't behave like this if you don't look like Rob R. So, and he shouldn't either.
That's right. That's right.
Let's get
You're
into
either
it.
a Rob or R or you're a Michael Rapaport. So beware.
Was it the
We have
right
to get
choice
into it.
tactically to vote Michael Rapaport out at the round table? No. Was it the right choice morally? Yes, 100%. And it
Yes.
made sense just in terms of how
Yes.
ballsed up their game was being by this man, just taking every opportunity to ruin the game for everyone. Like, not just ruining people strategy wise, like misleading people, sending people off down, not letting anyone speak, but also just the morale of the room had taken a huge tumble based on this man's obnoxious entitlement and arrogance. And I thought it was wonderful to see, like, I mean, the moment that he said that about Colton, about, oh, we know you're the person here who can really keep a secret. Let there be no doubt that is a horrifically homophobic thing to say. And I know there are people online being like, no, he didn't mean it like that. He absolutely meant it like that. There's no other circumstance in which you would
Absolutely.
say that. There's no other basis
Yeah.
for saying that. He's not a traitor. So it's not true.
And we all know his past. Like, he has a very public history of hiding something to protect himself. And he's been very open about that, not just on this show, but in real life. And so to use that against him and to use it in a way that has been used against queer people in media for the past like 100 years and beyond is, yeah, it was so despicable. And
Yeah,
I think one of the most beautiful things to come out of that was to
almost.
see everyone rally behind Colton and all of the queers of almost voting as a block. It really showed who the real allies are in the room. As you say, almost everyone
Yeah. It was
voted
lovely to see the sort of the and my
with
sword
Colton.
and my axe going around the table, like people just, and even as they were voting, saying, I don't think you're a traitor, I just think you're an a-hole. And I want you gone. But the fact that the housewives, and I know the housewives have a
Mhm.
relationship with Michael Rapaport because he's on Watch What Happens Live, or has been. He's friends with Andy Cohen, who is probably a Trump supporter.
Yeah.
The fact that Candice and Dorinda and Lisa all voted for Ron Funches at that table, and for some reason Stephen Coletti of One Tree Hill, who I worked out this week is not the dark-haired one that is not Chad Michael Murray on that show. He's the dark-haired one that is not the dark-haired one that is not Chad Michael Murray. He's someone else. He's not even important. How dare he vote against the gays?
Someone else. I still, honestly,
Yeah.
It was handed to them. So, like, this is the right decision. Like, no matter how far we want to get in the game, we cannot do it with this man here. And he is now attacking one of us.
Yeah.
For you to be like, no, I'm good with him. Let me go for the black man was really telling about power and status in not just in the US, but in
Let
the
me, a
world,
white
but
woman,
particularly
not
in the
support the
US.
people of color and the queer people at this table who've all said this white man needs to go. Dorinda, you're not an ally. Lisa, you're not an ally.
Because I know him. I know that's not what he's like in real life. Like all of the bullshit that we've heard time and time again. This isn't actually a reflection of him. This is just him playing the game. Well, when him playing the game starts affecting other people's ability to live,
and
then
Candice,
maybe
as a
the
black
game
woman,
isn't
should know
so
better. She should not be voting with the white women at that table.
Money trumps everything, lest we forget the Nicki Minaj of it all. Like race becomes less of a thing when you're a
until they start finding ways to get around that as well. That's what they do.
Well, they will. That's how it always goes, right? Getting dark-sided.
Yeah, it really does.
Real life sucks. That's why we come to this game, and that's why we needed
come to this place
rid
to
of
get rid of Michael
Rapaport.
Rapaport.
It was a good decision. Yeah. Thank you, Nicole.
Yes. Good decision. The show's more watchable.
I think it was just really it was so telling that every time he walked into a room, multiple people walked out. No, and like it was like, and particularly in that last episode, he could tell that people were leaving the room, and then he would follow them, and they would leave the next room. And it's like, oh, you're like literally hounding people, like you won't let them escape. It is a tactic that I have seen in aggressive men before. Like, I'm not going to let you walk away from this fight. You are going to fight me. That's like, that's really, that's a power move that speaks to privilege, particularly white male privilege. And it was just such shocking behavior that it was allowed, that no, like that he was being goaded on by someone. Like, no, keep doing what you're doing because it's
hope the producers
entertaining.
take the right
It
lesson
stopped
from
being
this.
entertaining in episode.
Like whatever they thought they were achieving, they were not achieving it. It was not good casting. I would leave the room just so I don't have to watch him do this. So, that's enough. Also, when he was abusing the word commiserate over and over again, I turned to my roommate Levi and I said, I don't think he knows what that word means. And then a second later, Rob R., once again, hero of the people, stands up and says, you're a goddamn idiot. Okay, that's not what happened here. It's what happened in my head. But yeah, the fact that Rob R., who is a pretty boy, who you don't expect to need any intelligence in life, why would he, is smarter than Michael Rapaport. That just feels like God smiled on one person and on the other he said, you are the devil's tool.
And it was all Rob. Yeah. So
let's say that.
It was an interesting week on both
Next
shows,
week,
let's say that.
We are into the final of UK, and that's going to be fun. We'll try and get our episode out as soon after the finale airs as possible. Thank you so much for talking about this nonsense with me again, Shane. Thank you all for watching, for listening, for enduring.
Pleasure.
Please remember to like, subscribe if you haven't already, tell a Traitors-loving friend about all of this. And until next time, kiss, kiss. Until next time, kiss, kiss.
Bang, bang.
If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button and subscribe to this channel. You can follow Kiss Kiss Bang Bang on Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Letterboxd at KKBBpod, or email us at kisskissbangbangpod@gmail.com.
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is recorded in Toronto on the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples.